Hey, thank you so much for tuning in to a new episode of Cut to Movies with Vivek and Viru. Just before we dive in, we'd like to give you a disclaimer that this episode is filled with spoilers. So please do watch the film first. Unless, of course, you don't have an issue with spoilers, in which case.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Cut to with Vivek and Biru. And today we are doing something different. आज एक नहीं तीन places में जाएंगे हम लोग. France, Holland and Iceland. And this is actually a 3 movies in a bundle pack from BookMyShow that we thought we'll talk about. And Vivek, tell us about the first film.
First, we're going to talk about this really interesting film called Tailgate. It's directed by this guy called Lodewijk Krin. I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly. It is a film about a short-tempered family man who finds himself pursued and terrorized by this vengeful van driver who he decided to overtake on the highway. It's a very simple premise, but what entails in the film is something that is quite crazy. What did you think of the film, Viru?
So this is kind of an over-the-top film, but मेरा तो ऐसा हुआ कि I recently watched another film called Unhinged, Russell Crowe का, and it was also about road rage. I told you about it.
Yes,
and this film is exactly like that.
Oh, okay.
I mean, there are so many different things that are, things that are similar in the film in terms of the structure. There, of course, there is this woman who is delayed in the morning for a meeting. She has to take her son to the school, and that is when she encounters Russell Crowe, who's the mad rage, road rage guy on the road, right? So उसमें भी similar है. कोई delay है starting में, like here the family is delayed. Then they are stuck behind this road rager, right? Then that guy asks them or to say sorry, which they don't say. And then उसके बाद पहला जो confrontation होता है वो exactly एक पेट्रोल पंप पे ही होता है उधर भी exactly वैसे ही.
Okay.
and some silly excuse for keep getting that phone to that road rager somehow and having the phone unlocked. That's the silly excuse वो दोनों फिल्म में है कि कैसे तो बंदे के पास तुम्हारा फोन आ जाता है. And then how he like gets your family involved and all of that, right? So the structure was same. So that is why मैं तो वही देखते रह गया. And इधर I mean I felt sorry for the woman क्योंकि circumstances था. यहाँ पे it felt like Hans, who's the father of the family that is going. He seems to be the villain. He seems to be the idiot.
Yeah.
So I wasn't feeling too bad for him.
Yeah, exactly. I think that was a similar feeling that I got when I was watching the film. Like I was like, who's the villain? He deserves this, what he's getting. And but only when I saw the villain's weapon of choice, which was like this sort of this pesticide spray that he was kind of putting on his victims. It reminded me of you remember Javier Bardem in No Country for Old Men, in that film where he's the hitman and he uses a weapon that looks like an extinguisher and it shoots a bullet. It was very similar to that, but this was like spraying some pesticide, which was quite scary. But I think the film didn't feel dragged for me. It was
फटाफट था, पास था.
It was good. Matlab, it was not too bad. It was not too good. It was like a how do I put it? Like, like a easy breezy film that you'd like to watch.
Absolutely. And Unhinged में ऐसा था. There it was a little over the top. I mean, Russell Crowe was amazing, but the thing was, of course, they had to fill in like 2 hours of things, and there was too much gore, and he was like on a killing rampage. Here it seemed a little more logical. I mean, I don't know if it is logical if a person on the road says, if you break the law, I'm going to kill you. But उससे थोड़ा सा better लग रहा था in terms of logic. Of course, there were illogical things like the scene where he kind of gives his phone to that other guy. वो थोड़ा सा illogical लग रहा था. And the thing is, even in this day and age, in Unhinged, it should have been like the guy should have been caught in the second scene itself. I mean, इतना फटाक से वो पता चल जाता है. be a reason for you to not call the police. The police can end it like in half an hour, the movie, right? Here,
Correct.
yeah, they've created a circumstance, but even then, the logic of not calling the police in the first instant itself seems a little illogical,
Absurd. Yeah,
uh,
I agree. I
absurd.
agree. Yeah.
So, I mean, thoda aise hai, but again, like you said, if you suspend that thing and just watch it as a thriller where there is someone who's behind you and you have to save your family, then it's okay. And here also there is a moral choice that you have to make whether who's the right one.
Hmm. Hmm.
यहाँ पे
Correct.
you also know that this guy, he is also causing these problems. If
Correct.
he would have said sorry and if he would have been behaving properly on the road, this wouldn't have happened to his family.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it was a fun small film.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's worth watching. It's not
Yeah.
bad.
Did you connect with the road rage aspect of the film? I connected with that aspect really strongly because I genuinely legit believe one of the reasons why I do not drive in the city of Mumbai is because I would run over people who are just these jaywalkers walking on the street, or people who are just honking unnecessarily. So, but you drive. I know that you drive more than I do. Did you connect with the road rage aspect?
I can understand the kind of guy that Hans is. There are these kind of people who become like who take it on their ego,
Yeah.
right? So either I could connect with it, like I maybe used to be that guy, but not. I mean, Mumbai's traffic has made me calmer, I think,
Oh,
as a
it's
person.
it's like reverse psychology हुआ है आपके साथ.
Like, you've given up to the traffic,
हाँ.
and then,
अच्छा.
kabhi that rage comes out, but it's mostly in the car, not outside it.
Got it.
हाँ, तो वो वैसा कि कॉन्फ्रंटेशन करना है कि उसको मैं हॉर्न मार के भागूंगा, ऐसा टाइप का मेरा कभी नहीं होता है.
हाँ.
I don't confront people, but yeah, if I'm like really angry, then I might just speed up और ऐसे करके हो सकता है.
हाँ.
And then I'll realize that I'm going
Too fast.
तो वैसा हो सकता है, but I don't confront people. I don't do that.
What about confronting our fears by watching a horror film, which is the
Oh my God, second
which
film.
is yeah.
Talk about that.
I remember you. It's directed by Oxar Thor Axelson. Oh, one is the name of these directors are these really, really interesting different names. But I remember you is about this young couple who moves to a small abandoned town in Iceland, if I'm not wrong, to find peace and solitude. But as soon as they get there, the audience finds there are skeletons in the closet, literally and figuratively. And this is one spooky, icy film. Viru, I remember you told me that you will not go to Iceland for a long, long time. What did you think of the film?
Okay, so see, horrors का मेरे से तो बहुत पहले से पंगा है. Like I remember the time when I watched a film like Veerana. I mean, तभी के लिए बचपन में Veerana, like I was under the sofa while I watched it, literally, and I was dragged into the room to watch the film by neighbors. I refused to do it. All the kids were watching it. I refused to, and they dragged me inside and and forced me to watch it. तभी से पंगा है. I've seen a lot of these Scandinavian mysteries and series and all of that, right? Scandinavian or also Welsh or ऐसे सब जगह पे जहाँ पे mind like people नहीं होते हैं आसपास.
Correct.
वीराना रहता है. Also, it's always there's the sun is never there, so it's always cold and damp, and तो वो जो atmosphere ही जो बनता है, I mean, that is itself scary.
Yeah.
तो वो, I mean, the atmosphere makes the film a little more scary than what it is, because this is not really a very spooky, like jump scary kind of a film. It's just the mood that makes it a little unnerving at times.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean ये देखने के बाद मेरे को ऐसा लगा कि यार ऐसे जगह पे why would someone want to live?
To
Why
live,
would
yeah.
someone go and live in an old building where no one lives,
Yeah.
and then where there is no network and you can't get through to anyone else, and there is no one living beside, like around you? I don't know. I would never do that. Would you?
Not, I mean, especially after watching this film, definitely not. They wanted to turn that into Airbnb. So now I'm going to even be wary of going to these small cottages which are on Airbnbs. But you made a very important point, Viru. Like this movie did not have those shriek moments. Like you were talking about Virana. My earliest memory of horror films is Exorcist, where you've got this the entire film. I mean, for a long period of time in the film, you don't have really a shriek moment. Everything is slow, and all of a sudden there is like this in your face, this horror image.
Right.
That comes in,
Right.
that haunts you.
Right.
This
Yeah.
film didn't have that, but like you said, that the mood of this film was so spooky, and
Mhm.
the lighting of the film, the way it was shot, I had to switch off the lights to watch it. So I can only
Right.
imagine
Right.
that this is made for theaters. So while you're watching it in the theater, I'm sure it would have been quite a spooky experience in that chilly
Right.
auditorium when you're watching this film.
And it's like a slow burn, right?
Yeah.
And for these kind of films, it needs that pacing and all that. Initially, you get to know the surroundings, you get to know the people, and
Yeah.
then dhire dhire things start to unravel. So overall, I mean, this was the film that I liked the most out of the pack.
Oh.
For me, I mean, yeah. So this was and it was purely because I mean of the mood and the way the story was running. There were two parallel stories that were running, and the mystery that kind of unfolded. Of course, there were a lot of these cliched things like the central the character who is the protagonist is like a person who has lost someone. हर कोई ऐसे मिस्ट्री वगैरह में कोई डिटेक्टिव रहता है या कोई रहता है तो उसका कोई मर गया रहता है या वो डिवोर्स रहता है, उसका खुद के बहुत पर्सनल ट्रेजेडी रहता है, लाइक तलाश.
Yeah, right. That didn't come to my mind.
राइट,
Oh,
तलाश में भी ऑलमोस्ट
yeah.
हाँ वैसे ही होता है. यू हैव अ पर्सनल ट्रेजेडी एंड देन यू आर लाइक इन्वॉल्वड इन अ सुपर नेचुरल काइंड ऑफ अ फिल्म. उसका भी पेसिंग वैसा ही था. सो आई मीन देयर इज अ लॉट ऑफ दीज पैरेलल्स एंड वो क्लीशेज है बेसिकली. बट
Yeah.
फिर भी उसमें भी आई मीन द वे इट अनरावल्स द स्टोरी बिहाइंड इट, so that was interesting. So that's why
Yeah.
I liked the film.
Yeah.
Overall,
But it's
I mean, this is my favorite. Yeah.
interesting to know this is your favorite, because the next one is my favorite of the three,
Okay.
which is The Girl with a Bracelet, a film from France.
Right.
This is a movie made by Stephanie de Moustier. It is a remake of an Argentine courtroom drama, which goes by the
Acha.
name of The Accused. And it's a perfect did she not genre kind of a film. It's again nuanced, slow baked, keeps you hooked, and doesn't beat around the bush too much. It's just 90 minutes runtime, and yeah, it was my favorite amongst the three films that we watched from the Book My Show stream pack. What did you think, Viru, of this film?
I mean, I don't know if this is this is a French film, right? Yeah.
Yes.
For some reason, they don't have like a good subtitle track for it. So I had to watch it in Hindi, Vivek. I don't know why.
Oh, okay. Now I can understand why you would have, oh God, some of the dialogues would have been.
You might be right. I mean, the Hindi dialogues may be off-putting. It was not too bad, though. It was not too bad.
Yeah.
I've seen worse.
Yeah. I think what I loved the most about this film, Naviru, was I love films that that challenge my morality and my opinion. Like, I don't know whose side I am on. Like we were discussing, right, in that first film, which was Tailgate, where you said that Hans, the actual protagonist, could also be the villain because he was an idiot, right? That's the part I loved about that film. Similarly, in this film, it kept me on the. I was always on the tender hook that
Right.
did she do it? Did she
Did
not?
she
Like,
or
yeah,
right.
I love that about such films. Like when they manage to keep you in, hooked to that moment.
Okay. So इसमें ना I don't know. I mean I saw a very similar kind of a premise a
Hmm.
series very recently which is called Cruel Summer. Of course that Cruel Summer
Hmm.
it's a drama where they show that there are two women and
Hmm.
actually two teenagers. One
Hmm.
is abducted by a maniac and kept in a locked up in
Hostage.
a house for a hostage in a house for a very long time for months. And when the girl is finally rescued, she comes and says that there's this another girl who actually saw her like after a few
Hmm.
months from
Hmm.
outside but never told anyone, so she could have saved me. तो उसके ऊपर she that girl becomes like a victim
Hmm.
of hate from everyone else.
Hmm. Hmm.
She and then there is a court case. uh,
Hmm.
उसमें so उधर क्या हुआ था कि I mean here also there is this girl uh, who's facing a trial. There is a family ka issue that is there.
Hmm.
uh,
Hmm. Hmm.
उसका family is supportive, right?
Hmm.
uh,
Hmm.
in Cruel Summer, her family also has a lot of reason to doubt whether she actually did it.
Hmm.
And they've built that up. Huh?
Hmm.
यहाँ
Hmm.
पे the family is actually on her side. So I didn't really know why she was so cold and why she was so distant and why
Hmm.
wasn't she not trying to help the case or
Hmm.
help her case.
Hmm.
वो मुझे थोड़ा odd लगा. Like I mean it if she was end में उसका जो passionate ये आता है
Hmm.
apology that
Yeah.
she
Yeah.
kind of asks for from the mother of her friend. वो मतलब पहले कहाँ था and why does it only come at the end when
End.
it is almost clear that she hasn't done it, right?
Hmm.
uh,
Hmm.
even when they find the knife, right? वहां
Yeah.
पे भी क्वेश्चन मार्क ऐसे लग नहीं रहा था. शी वाज लाइक अच्छा दे दो यार, राइट? तो आई मीन आई वुड हैव लव्ड इफ वहां पे एंड हो रहा था, लाइक इफ शी फाउंड नॉट गिल्टी एंड देन इन द एंड दे फाइंड द
Knife.
knife, right? And that leaves a question mark. Maybe that was the kind of film that I was looking for.
Hmm. Hmm. But it was a French film, so they are going to be very like fine wine. They're going to kind of make you enjoy things aram se, and then kind of end it. But when you talk about that show, that it reminded you of that show when you were watching this film. Have you watched Badla? Sujoy Ghosh's Badla
हाँ
with
हाँ हाँ मैंने
Amitabh
देखा ना. हाँ
Bachchan.
हाँ हाँ
So,
हाँ.
usme bhi, if you remember, there was a lot of interrogation between the lawyer and the character, and then in the end there is this twist that kind of
Right.
happens, right? It also, I mean, that entire scene of you are with the woman and you support the woman at all costs, and then suddenly something else kind of comes in between the story that you believe
Right.
in and the story that
Right.
is an actuality. So I think I like that bit also. So, like, this was the last film that I watched out of the three, right? And after watching, and the second film I watched was the scary film. So
Okay.
maybe it was also like a great closure for the pack
Okay.
that I was watching. So maybe
Well,
I thought.
interesting. I Remember You was my last film, so maybe that is why I liked it.
Ah.
I don't know. Tailgate was the first one. Couple of things that I found odd was it was a French film, and then French film mein there was so much slut shaming and they were not too open about teenage sex. So I mean, I was like, ये इंडिया में चल रहा होता तो I would have been okay with it, but it is happening in France. I don't buy it, right? I mean, and even the public prosecutor or whoever she was like a bully. I mean, uska what was her agenda? Why was she like so adamant about proving this girl guilty at all
Guilty.
costs? हाँ मतलब मेरे को उसका भी कोई ऐसा मोटिव मेरे को समझा नहीं. आई मीन शी वाज आल्सो ट्राइंग टू put words into that girl's mouth and she was like yeah. I mean उसका जो उसके पास कोई प्रूफ नहीं था. right? I mean, पूरे case में there was everything was circumstantial. So I found
Yeah.
the case so very one sided. मेरे को लग रहा था ये इसको अगर तुम्हारे पास कोई ठोस सबूत ही नहीं है तो भाई इसको कैसे तुम लोग वो कर सकते हो? Unless you find the knife, everything is circumstantial.
Or the weapon that has been used to kill her.
Yeah, exactly.
From her perspective, it was like an open and shut case because there was no other DNA that was found on that girl's body except that actress in question. So I think that was the only one. But it was a good convincing argument whenever she took the mic, and plus added with the girls, the steel cold looks. It just felt like, yaar, matlab you're not helping the cause at all.
Right. End में अगर if she was not guilty, then what happened? Why was she stuttering? Why didn't she have answers to everything that they were asking? That I mean, I'm trying to, in retrospect, I'm like thinking maybe it's just a plot build-up. हो सकता है also the time that has gone by, like 6 months, some memories fade.
Yeah.
So वैसा भी हो सकता है. But yeah, that is another thing. Like she was in the jail or juvenile jail for about 6 months before the case started. So that is something that happens in France as well. Which is surprising. Yeah. I think this is like a nice pack for people to watch, right?
100%. Yeah, I was pretty surprised, except the UI of the app, which I don't know, maybe it was a Fire TV stick problem. I don't know how it works on other people's devices, but for me it was lagging a lot. Thankfully not while I'm watching the film, but while I'm switching from the app to something else, etc.
Okay.
But otherwise I think, I mean, the packs that are available on BookMyShow stream are really, really cool.
Exactly. And they have a lot of these foreign films that we never knew, and these are all the recent releases. Of course, they have some old ones as well. And I was surprised to actually find it. So people should actually log in, and this was like 3 movies for $79, which is like nothing, man.
Exactly. So it's so much more cheaper than Apple TV rent or YouTube movie rent. And if, of course, for the people who are not looking at commercial films but looking at these little gems from the world, I think it's a perfect destination.
So people, ये bundle is not bundle. It is worth watching. So log on to BMS, and we'll put out the link along with the description so that you can find it and maybe watch it. And do let us know what was your reaction to each one of them and which one was your favorite. Cool then. See ya next time, guys. And do leave your comments and do follow our channels, Instagram, YouTube, and on Spotify. Bye.
Bye.